Be me. 22F. Fourth year at a private Midwestern university, majoring in social anthropology, with a minor in media studies. Life is good. I get straight A's for writing essays about how problematic Shakespeare is. My parents pay for my apartment and tuition, but it's fine because I'm using their capitalist money to fight the system from within. Or something. I'm extremely online and extremely confident that I have the world figured out. The main pillar of my worldview, male privilege. It's the skeleton key that unlocks every door of social injustice. Men have it easy. It's an objective fact. They get paid more for doing less. They don't have to live in fear. Their opinions are taken more seriously. They walk through life on easy mode while women are playing on legendary difficulty with one hand tied behind their back. One evening I'm on a family Zoom call. My dad, a 55-year-old engineer who still wears hiking shoes everywhere and listens to Steely Dan unironically, he asks about my post-graduation plans. I tell him I'm planning a series of articles on the lived experience of systemic male advantage. He gets this tired look on his face. Mara, the world's a bit more complicated than that. Most guys I know are just trying to get by. They're stressed about bills, their jobs, their families. It's not some big club. MFW, I have to listen to a lecture from the final boss of cishet patriarchy. I launch into my pre-rehearsed talking points. Wage gap, emotional labour, unseen advantages, blah blah blah. He just sighs. You've read a lot of books, honey, but you haven't lived it. You don't know what it's like to be a man any more than I know what it's like to be you. The condescension, the fucking nerve. The call ends awkwardly. I slam my laptop shut. That night, an idea sparks in my brain. A glorious galaxy brain idea. What if I did live it? What if I, a staunch feminist warrior, went undercover? Disguised myself as a man to document the privilege firsthand? It would be the ultimate gotcha. My blog would explode, I'd get a book deal, I'd be the next feminist icon, it wouldn't even be hard. How hard could it be? I start planning the project. First, the transformation. Cut my auburn hair into a short, dull men's cut. Dye it brown to look generic. Buy a high-quality chest binder online. Feels like wearing a straitjacket, but for the cause. Raid a thrift store for the male NPC uniform. Baggy jeans, plain hoodies, canvas jacket, worn-out work boots. I practice lowering my voice, walking with more weight, taking up space. My friends think this is brilliant, the most radical performance art they've ever seen. We have a farewell to Mara party where everyone toasts to my bravery. I need a new identity. Owen? Owen seems like a good name. Simple, unassuming. I tell my parents I've been accepted into a graduate research program in another state. Total lie. They're proud. Send me money. The irony is delicious. I moved to a mid-sized working-class city a few states over. A place with factories and diners, not art galleries and juice bars. Rent a cheap, grim little studio apartment above a laundromat. The goal, live as Owen for 1 year, get a man's job and document every advantage I receive. Week 1 as Owen. Job hunting. I apply for things I assumed were easy male jobs. Warehouse stocker, construction labourer, delivery driver. My resume is just my name, a fake high school, and a fake reference from my friend's dad. I expect to be handed a job because I have a male name. Nobody calls back. I spend days filling out applications online. Silence. I start walking into places to ask for work, get told we're not hiring about 20 times. The polite dismissal is somehow worse than outright rejection. Finally get a trial gig at a beverage distribution warehouse. Night shift. The interview was literally, can you lift 50 pounds over and over for 8 hours? Show me. I barely manage. They tell me to start Monday. The job is hell on earth. It's not a job. It's a paid workout routine designed by Satan. Lifting heavy boxes in a cold, cavernous warehouse from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. My body isn't used to it. My back screams. My hands are covered in blisters by day 3. I come home as the sun rises, smelling like sweat and cardboard, and just collapse into bed. Wake up in the late afternoon feeling like I was hit by a truck. Eat a can of soup or a microwave pizza. Watch something brainless until it's time to go back to hell. Rinse, repeat. This is my life now. My co-workers are a mix of guys. Younger guys like me trying to save money. Older guys who have been there for 20 years. A few grizzled lifers with bad backs and worse attitudes. I keep my head down and my notebook for the project hidden. My expectation. They'll be making sexist jokes, bragging about conquests, plotting to keep women down. The reality, they're just tired. The main topics of conversation are 1. How much their feet hurt. 2. Bitching about the useless day shift manager. 3. Fantasy football. 4. Their car making a weird noise. 5. Their kid's soccer game or their wife being mad at them for working so much. One night during break, a guy named Trent is showing pictures of his new baby daughter. He looks so proud and so exhausted at the same time. Gotta stack that diaper money, you know? He says, rubbing his eyes. Another guy, Calvin, who's maybe 45, is quietly eating his sandwich and staring at the wall. Someone asks him what's up. Wife wants a divorce. Says I'm never home. He says it so flatly, nobody knows what to say. One guy just pats him on the shoulder, hard. That sucks, man. And that's it. The conversation is over. Everyone goes back to their phones or their food. No one says, let's talk about it. Calvin just finishes his sandwich in silence and goes back to work, lifting boxes a little faster than before. I write in my notebook later, displays of toxic masculinity. Emotional repression is mandatory for group acceptance. It feels less convincing as I write it. Loneliness starts to set in. As Mara, my phone was always blowing up. Group chats, FaceTime calls, friends needing advice, friends giving me advice. As Owen, my phone is a dead brick. I try to make friends at work. I ask a couple guys if they want to get a beer after our shift ends at 6 a.m. They just look at me weird. Dude, I'm going to sleep. The only socializing is the shared misery of the job itself. I realize male friendships, at least in this context, are built on shared activity, not shared feelings. You're friends because you work together, or you play a sport together. You don't just talk. The lack of emotional intimacy is jarring. It feels like I'm starving. I call my friends back home as Mara, desperate for a real conversation. I try to explain what I'm seeing. It's actually really hard. The work is brutal and it feels very lonely. They don't get it. OMG, that's the toxic environment the patriarchy creates. The men are suffering from the system they created. This is amazing data, Mara. They're not listening to me. They're fitting my experience into their pre-existing theory. I feel a flash of anger. It's not data, it's my life. I'm tired and my back hurts. I hang up feeling more alone than before. The project needs more data points. Just work isn't enough. I decide to enter the modern dating market as a man, set up a Tinder profile for Owen, 23, works in logistics, 5'8", a generous lie, use a few decent photos I took where I don't look completely dead inside. My bio, just a guy who likes hiking, movies and finding good pizza. Looking for something real. As Mara, my Tinder was a slot machine that always hit the jackpot. Hundreds of likes, constant messages. I could be picky, I could ghost people, I could have fun. I was in control. As Owen, crickets. Days go by, a few likes trickle in, I get maybe 3 matches in the first week. I have to do all the work. I match with a girl named Elise. She's cute. I send a message. Hey, I like your dog. What's his name? She replies hours later. Lol, thanks, Cooper. That's it. The conversation is now a dead weight that I have to somehow revive. I ask her about her hobbies. One-word answers. I try to be funny. Scene. It's like trying to start a fire with wet wood. It's exhausting. After a few days of me sending paragraphs and getting back emojis, she unmatches me. This happens over and over. The amount of effort required to get a flicker of interest is staggering. The constant silent rejection is a soul crusher. I used to laugh at guys with must be able to hold a conversation in their bios. I get it now. After a month of this, I actually managed to get a date. A girl from Hinge. The conversation was slightly better than a coma. We agree to meet for coffee. I'm incredibly nervous. What do guys talk about on dates? I buy a new shirt. I rehearse conversation topics in the mirror. I get to the coffee shop early. She shows up 15 minutes late, texting. Doesn't apologize. The date is an interview where I'm the only one being questioned. I ask her about her job, her life, her passions. She gives brief answers and then just stares at me, waiting for me to entertain her. The check comes. She doesn't even look at it. She just continues scrolling on her phone. I pay for both of us. She says thanks for the coffee and leaves. I get a text an hour later. Hey, I didn't really feel a spark. Good luck though. I just sit in my quiet apartment that night. I open my notebook. Male financial privilege and dating rituals. I stare at the words. They feel hollow, like a lie. I close the notebook and don't open it again for a week. Months go by. The physical toll of the job gets worse. I have a permanent pain in my lower back now. One night, a pallet of soda cans is stacked wrong. It tips over as I'm pulling it with the pallet jack. I try to jump out of the way, but a case smashes into my ankle. Blinding, white-hot pain. I go down, cursing. My supervisor comes over. You alright, Owen? I think I sprained my ankle. Or broke it, I don't know. He looks at it. Can you walk? I try to stand up. The pain is too much. Alright. HR will call you tomorrow. Go to urgent care. Here's the paperwork for workers' comp. He and another guy helped me limp to my car. "Take it easy, man." And that's it. I drive myself to urgent care with my left foot, my right ankle swelling up to the size of a grapefruit. I sit in the waiting room for 3 hours, alone. I get x-rays, a brace, and crutches. It's a severe sprain, not broken. I hobble back to my apartment, take the stairs one agonizing step at a time, fall into bed. No one calls, no one texts. HR calls the next day to talk about paperwork. That's it. As Mara, if I got a bad sprain, my friends would have been at my apartment in an hour with soup, ice cream, and movies. They would have stayed with me, looked after me. As Owen, I'm on my own, totally and completely. The expectation of male self-sufficiency isn't a privilege, it's a burden. It's the unspoken rule that your pain is your problem. Deal with it. I lie in bed for 2 days, hopping to the bathroom and microwaving instant noodles. I start crying. Not because of the pain in my ankle, but because of the profound, crushing weight of the isolation. This is the moment the project dies. Not with a bang, but with a whimper in a shitty apartment, alone, with a swollen ankle. I can't do it anymore. I email the warehouse. I quit. I pack my bags. I throw the binder in the trash. It feels like taking off a suit of armor. I drive back to my real hometown, my real apartment. I look in the mirror. My hair is a mess. There are dark circles under my eyes. I've lost weight. I look haunted. I take a long hot shower. I put on my old clothes. I don't feel like Mara. I don't feel like Owen. I don't know who I am. My friends are excited to see me. Tell us everything. We want to hear all the details of the patriarchy. We go to our favorite brunch spot. They're all talking over each other, laughing, sharing stories. The easy intimacy, the effortless support. I almost forgot what it felt like. They turn to me. "So, what was the biggest male privilege you discovered?" I hesitate. I think the biggest privilege is being a woman. Silence. They stare at me. Confusion. Then a hint of betrayal in their eyes. My friend Tessa, the most militant of all of us, scoffs. "What? Mara, what are you talking about? Did you get Stockholm Syndrome?" I try to explain. "No, just the way we're all here right now, talking, supporting each other. Guys don't have this. They're just alone. They're expected to be fine all the time, and if they're not, they have to hide it. No one cares if a man is sad. They just care if he can still work." I talk about Calvin, the guy whose wife was leaving him, about the silent break room, about the dating apps, about being injured and having no one. I'm not articulating it well. My voice is shaky. Tessa rolls her eyes. "Okay, so toxic masculinity is bad for men too. We know that. That's Feminism 101. It doesn't negate male privilege. They created that system. They can be sad and still get paid more. But do they? The guys I worked with weren't getting rich. They were breaking their bodies for barely more than minimum wage. Those are individual anecdotes, Mara. We're talking about systemic structures." I look around the table. They're not getting it. They can't. They see everything as a power structure, an academic theory. I saw a bunch of tired, lonely men. I saw a reflection of myself in them, an invisible person. The friendship is never the same after that. There's a new distance between us. I can't listen to their rants the same way. When they talk about all men, I see Trent's tired face showing me baby pictures. They start calling me less. The group chat goes quiet for me. They think I've been compromised, that I've gone soft. In their world of black and white, my new perspective is a messy, uncomfortable grey, so they cut it out. I try to write the blog post. I lived as a man for 6 months. Here's what I learned. I sit in front of the blank screen for hours. How can I write it? My old self would have twisted everything to fit the narrative. The loneliness would be toxic masculinity. The hard labor would be a temporary hardship to prove a point. But I can't. It feels dishonest. The truth is messy. The truth is that I went looking for male privilege, and what I found was male disposability. I found out that men and women are just lonely in different ways. Women are taught to be afraid of men. Men are taught that no one gives a shit if they live or die. The story has no triumphant conclusion, no book deal. My blog is inactive. My friends are gone. I'm back in my comfortable apartment, paid for by my dad, the one I used to mock. I feel an overwhelming sense of shame for my arrogance, my certainty. I was so sure I had all the answers. I judged the world from a position of immense, unearned privilege, a privilege of safety nets and emotional support I never even saw. Be me, now. 23. Finished college with a useless degree. I spend a lot of time alone. Sometimes I go to a coffee shop and just watch people. I see men my age, laughing with their girlfriends. I see older men sitting alone, reading the paper. I see construction workers on their lunch break, covered in dust, wolfing down sandwiches. I don't see the patriarchy anymore. I just see people, and I feel this quiet, profound sadness. My dad was right. The world is more complicated than that, and I'm just another person in it, trying to get by. I learned what it's like to be a man. It's a lot like being a woman, but lonelier, much, much lonelier.